guys, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a part 2 to my allergies video. There were some things I said in that video and now I feel like I can elaborate on them. It's going to be all about eczema, something that I have suffered with since I was born, I can say. I don't remember a time when I didn't have it, and some days are good, some days are bad, and I've been living with it for, how old am I now? 28 years. I found a weird pattern. I don't know if it's just me. There is something on the internet that claims eczema, allergies and asthma, which is part of the atopic triad I talked about in the first video, that tend to come in 7-year cycles. Now, I don't know how true that is, but thinking back over all the times my eczema has been at its worst, I can say that it follows that pattern. So when I was born, my mum noticed that my skin was a lot drier than it should be. So we'll say that she knew from probably 1 week, 2 weeks, she knew something was wrong with my skin. My dad apparently used to tie me to a chair with mittens on to stop me from scratching. I mean, it sounds pretty bad, but I know he was doing it for my benefit because I would just scratch constantly. I know for a fact that I would sit on the carpet and literally rub my hands, my knuckles along the carpet, which sounds awful, but you would do anything for that relief. I went to see my cousin and she managed to dig out all of her old birthday videos, and we found videos of me when I was very little. Kind of embarrassing, but I'll insert a video now of me when I was about either 2 or 3, and you can just see the stress of itching. I could not stop itching, and this was a constant thing. And as a child that young, to have that intense itch and all you want to do is scratch, it's uncomfortable. I must have been about 7. My mum felt that my skin was so bad that she decided to try Chinese herbal medicine. And I remember they used to give me leaves and tree barks and berries and stuff like that, and my mum was advised to boil them in a pot, simmer it for however long, sieve it through, give me the fluid. I'm not drinking that. It was like black green colour. The whole house stunk whenever she made these drinks for me. The Chinese herbalists say that sugar is not a good thing, and I have heard that sugar is not good for any skin condition. Sugar is just bad for you in general. So the only alternative to making the drink taste better, I guess, was honey. And it didn't matter how much honey you put in that drink, it just tasted of earth. I would just cry. I didn't want to drink it. It just gave me the worst stomach ever. It made me feel sick. It made me want to go to the toilet a lot. Because in Chinese medicines, it's more about cleansing the body. It's about getting whatever toxin is in your body out. And trust me, everything was out. I was crying tears, I was vomiting, I was going to the toilet. I don't know. Did it work? I don't know. When I was 14, I cannot really remember if I had any bad spells. However, 14 was when puberty hit and had really bad acne, so I think that took away from any eczema problems that I was having. To me, it felt like it came up overnight and it just would not go. 14, I don't really remember having really bad eczema. When I hit 21, all hell broke loose with my skin. I do not know what happened. It covered my entire body. There was not 1 inch of skin that wasn't covered in flaky, dry, raised, sore skin. From behind my ears to my ankles, I was covered. I was itchy, I was irritable. I cannot describe it. It started spring of 2010, so I was 21 or just turned 21. My neck started itching, and this itch on my neck just kept getting worse and worse. The skin on my neck had started to swell. All the folds in my neck were like sunken, and all the skin in between was sticking out. My neck was huge. It was warm to the touch, really hot and sweaty, and I have never ever seen my skin do this before. This looked like I had been stung by 100 bees all in my neck, and it was just reacting. And because it was my neck, the first thing that I thought was, what if my airways were to close up? What if I stopped breathing? So I went home, I had ice on my neck, I took antihistamine tablets, it went down, but it did take a few hours. That day was the start of how my skin turned really bad. So from my neck, it trailed down my back, it was weeping, my clothes would stick to me, it snaked up my face. The affected skin would peel off and the skin underneath would be lighter than my normal skin. So I spent a lot of time trying to cover up the patches that look lighter than the rest of my face. There's like a strip all along the side of my face where it's just white. This is what prompted my mum and me to take it to the doctors, because it was lasting for so long. It wasn't just a flare-up. Flare-ups come and go. This was lasting months on end. And I cried in the doctor's office, and that was the only time that he even thought to send me for a consultation with a skin specialist. I waited 6 months for this appointment, and my mum came with me. She sat in the waiting room and they called my name. I was like, yes, finally I'm going to get some answers. They're probably going to do some tests on me. This is going to be the start of my skin clearing up, because by now I had been so fed up of... They called my name, he called me into the room and he sat me down and said, what's the problem? So I said, for the last 3-4 months I've been to the doctors probably 3-4 times, and my skin is really bad and it's not getting any better, it's getting worse in fact. I said to him that it's causing discoloration on my face, on my neck, on my back. I am covered head to toe in this dry flaky skin. It doesn't matter what moisturizer I use, it's not helping. The worst place that I was having this was on my back, because it's the biggest area and it was the most affected. I said to him, it's on my back, it's on my elbows, it's on my knees, it's on my feet. He said, show me your feet. So I took off my trainer, I put my foot on my lap and pulled down my sock. I pulled it down not even a centimetre, and he said, okay, this looks bad, let's give you some cream. I've just told you that it's covering my whole body and you've taken a look at my foot. I've waited 6 months for this appointment and it's taken you 2 seconds to diagnose me. He did nothing. The appointment lasted, I can't even say 2 minutes. I spoke for 2 minutes, he looked at me for 2 seconds, and that was it. He literally gave me the same stuff that my doctor did. I remember what was on there. It was aqueous cream, Cetraben cream, 1 steroid, Elicon ointment, which is what I needed at the time, and then the other one was just cetirizine, which is an antihistamine. I remember getting up with this piece of paper feeling so deflated, walked out into the waiting room. My mum looked at me, she smiled, she's like, what's happening now? I was like, Mum, it's done. And she went, what do you mean it's done? Did you even show him anything? And by now I had been so fed up that, do you know what, I couldn't even be bothered to fight this anymore. I just thought, F this. I didn't even get the prescription. All I did was get the steroids. I felt very self-conscious. And like everyone knows today, your mental health is very, very important. How you feel in your day-to-day life really does affect you in the long run. It's such a petty thing to think about, but I literally thought, who would ever want to go out with you looking like this? Who would ever want to kiss you or be intimate with you? Those things cross my mind, and you feel like you're hideous. You yourself, you just feel ugly. You feel unwanted and ugly. At this moment, today, I am having an okay skin day. I would say out of 10, 10 being like, I have the best skin and I don't have eczema. I think I'm on like a 6 today. Whereas 2 weeks ago, I was on like a 2. The last couple of months, I've been taking pictures and videos of my skin because, again, I had a flare-up, and coincidentally, I'm 28. So the theory of the 7-year cycle seems to be true with me, because I'm 28 and I've had bad skin this whole year. It started on my face here. There was a rash on my face that just would not clear up. It would come and go and come and go, and every time it came, when it left, it would leave a scar. So right here on the side of my face, I have a dark scar. There is also a patch here on my eyebrow where the skin is constantly flaking and it is so dry. I can wake up in the morning, exfoliate that off, and by the evening it's back. The worst thing about it is, because the skin is so damaged and inflamed and raw, I've actually lost hair in this part of my eyebrow. And thank God for makeup, because girls, luckily we can fill in our eyebrows. It's not really a problem these days. Everyone fills in their eyebrows. It is growing back, but if I was to get the rash again, I'm very sure that the hairs will start to fall out in that spot all over again. In the corners of my mouth, I've noticed it in all my videos, I don't know if anyone else notices, but the corners of my mouth are quite dark right here. and that is called angular cheilitis. And I don't know if that's eczema related or it's just another thing separately, but I've always had it. But I hated wearing lipstick because it seemed to accentuate how dark the other bits were, because if you've got a nice pretty colour on your lips and then you've got these dark bits in the corner, it shows up a lot more. But I've learned to accept it. The skin there is very dry and very fragile, and sometimes it splits, and when it heals there are darker scars, same as on my face. Sometimes stuff that I eat can aggravate it so that it becomes more swollen in the corners or dry and cracked. If I stress about it, what can I do? If I stress, it just makes my skin worse. That is the one thing about eczema. It's a cycle. You get flare-ups when you're tired and stressed. It gets worse, and then you feel really bad that you look bad, and then you stress, and the cycle continues. So if you realise there's nothing you can do about it, just go about your business. If anyone gives you grief, they don't understand. It's simple as that. Many doctors told me that I would grow out of it. I was told many a times that once I hit puberty, it would clear itself up. Clearly that hasn't happened, and I think saying something like that is really damaging to the mind, because as a child you have this thing that you hate, and someone is telling you when you grow up you're not going to have it. So you're constantly waiting for that day for this thing to just go and leave, and that day has not come where I can wake up and not be itchy, not be dry, not be rashy. It didn't come. When I was at school, no one ever gave me grief about having eczema. Lucky that I didn't meet any kid that was obnoxious or ignorant about eczema. Some people ask me, oh, what's wrong with your skin, or what's that on your face? And as much as they're trying to be polite, it just puts me on the spot. And I'm quite a reserved person. I'm quite quiet. I don't like talking about eczema. I shouldn't be ashamed of it, I just don't like talking about it. I've been asked, is it contagious? And no, it's not contagious. And it just made me feel really self-conscious, like, what? So I can't hold hands? You know, you're a kid, you want to play, and so I can't touch you, I can't hold hands, and I felt really bad. There was one kid in school called Marcus, I remember you, Marcus, and I was sitting next to him in assembly or something, and I just remember him shouting out, ugh, Zainab's got dry knuckles. And I was so embarrassed, because when I was younger, the knuckles here, like, the skin was split. It was so dry that it was cracking, and if I did this, they would literally crack. They would heal and crack, heal and crack. But at the time, I think we were about 6, so it was completely innocent. He was just doing what kids do. My knuckles, as you can see now, they're completely healed. It's still a bit scarred. The skin here it looks wrinkly. That's the only way I can say it. Sometimes the littlest comments, they stick with you for years. And I have been called Crocodile Dundee. Crocodile Dundee because of how rough my skin was. Here I am very scarred. It's very dark, especially under here. It gets very dry. The rest of my skin will be very moisturised, and this patch will always stay dry. And on this side as well, the crooks of my arms are very hard. That Crocodile Dundee nickname is very true, because I'm not going to lie, the skin here is very much like crocodile skin. That is the only way I can describe it. I've had a friend, I say friend, call me reptile lips. And I was in secondary school, and she said it in front of some people, and literally, you know when you just like, you just want to hide, because I'm thinking, is that what they think? Is that what they think of me? Some days I wake up and I don't feel very pretty. I wake up, my skin is dry, it's grey looking, it's tight, it hurts. I sometimes get it on my eyelids. It literally hurts to open my eyes in the morning. I think the common misconception is if you don't scratch, you won't have your eczema. That is not true. Eczema is there whether you scratch or not. Telling someone, why don't you just stop scratching? Like it's that easy. Just stop scratching. Of course, if I just stop scratching, my eczema will disappear. That is not true. I always have my nails done with acrylics. And I find that with acrylics, your nails aren't as sharp as natural nails. Because they're quite thick, you can file the edges to make them quite blunt. I can't do as much damage to my skin as I could when I was a kid. I could literally make myself bleed from scratching. Now it would take a lot of effort to draw blood. Sometimes the itch is that bad. All you want to do is scratch, and it feels so good that you just keep going, and before you know it, you've broken a couple layers of skin. My boyfriend is very, very good at swatting my hand if I scratch.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it? Because sometimes I literally don't even know I'm doing it. I'll be watching a film and I just start scratching and he swats my hand. He's very good at that. When eczema is on your face, it's a completely different ballgame to when it's on your body, because you can't hide your face like you can hide your body. And you feel, I hope it's not true, but you feel like everyone can see it and everyone is looking at you. I try not to let it take over my day. Most girls see makeup as like an expression or an art or a hobby. No, to me, I'm just going to put it simply, it's a cover-up. And people with vitiligo, they use makeup to cover up the light and dark patches to even them out. That's exactly what I'm doing. I do like makeup, but the reason why I started wearing it is to cover up all of these discolorations on my face and the scars that are left behind when I have bad flare-ups or bad episodes of eczema. The problem is when it's flaking, there is nothing you can do. Sometimes putting makeup on bad skin just makes it look 10 times worse. When I eventually have kids, I am terrified that they might get eczema. I never want to see them in discomfort or pain or feel like the world is looking at them or the world pities them or looks at them funny because they're different. 10% of adults worldwide suffer from eczema at some point in their lives, and the younger you are, the more likely you are to have eczema. I kind of wanted to make this video just in time for Eczema Awareness Week, which is the 16th to the 24th of September, and I felt like I just wanted to get my story out there and raise a little bit of awareness on some issues that people with eczema go through. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.